An urban legend, urban myth, urban tale, or contemporary legend is a form of modern folklore consisting of stories that may or may not have been believed by their tellers to be true. As with all folklore and mythology, the designation suggests nothing about the story's veracity, but merely that it is in circulation, exhibits variation over time, and carries some significance that motivates the community in preserving and propagating it. Despite its name, an urban legend does not necessarily originate in an urban area. Rather, the term is used to differentiate modern legend from traditional folklore in pre-industrial times. For this reason, sociologists and folklorists prefer the term contemporary legend. Urban legends are sometimes repeated in news stories and, in recent years, distributed by email. People frequently alleged that such tales happened to a friend of a friend, so often, in fact, that friend of a friend has become a commonly used term when recounting this type of story. Some urban legends have passed through the years with only minor changes to suit regional variations. Here is one of the urban legends. Alabama, dead children's playground. They are whispered around campfires and passed down from generation to generation. They spark fear in the hearts and minds of children and adults alike. Their subjects take many shapes, be they bloodthirsty creatures of the night, vengeance-seeking ghouls, or sinister vortices. And each time they are told, the terror spreads. Country rich in folklore. A place where cautionary tales have always been mixed into the pot and sprinkled into our collective nightmares. Yet some of our nation's eeriest and most persistent stories, whether because they're rooted in community, lore or used as means to synthesize local tragedy, don't travel far. Never fear, or actually, please do fear. We've tracked down the creepiest urban legends in all 50 states, and the macabre bunch of stories is certain to freak you out, no matter where you live. Why it's creepy. This eerie playground adjacent to Maple Hill, Huntsville's oldest cemetery, doesn't just have an eerie nickname for fun. The playground was presumably designed to entertain kids while their parents visited the graves of loved ones. Legend has it, though, that the spirits of children who've been buried in the cemetery since the first grave was dug there in 1822 come out to play at night. The living have observed orbs of light going down the slide, seen swings moving on their own, and even heard giggling. Creepier still, some say the spirits include victims of a rash of child murders that happened in the 60s, when bodies were rumored to have been found in the area that now houses the playground. Where it came from, the playground itself wasn't opened until 1985, so you can imagine how much pent-up energy the tiny spirits had after 163 years without a slide. In 2007, the city tried to raise the park to make more room for graves and removed the slides and swings overnight. After public outcry, it was replaced with more modern equipment, making it slightly less creepy to look at, and also probably resulting in some happier ghosts. The Dead Children's Playground is a small playground located on Maple Hill Cemetery's adjoining City Park. Originally placed for children to have fun, earned its macabre name from the numerous reports of paranormal activities that have happened in the play area. It is believed that the ghostly happening were caused by spirits of children who passed away during the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918. Many of them were buried in a section of Maple Hill Cemetery near the playground. Some believe the origins of Dead Children's Playground traces back to the series of child abductions that gripped the Huntsville community in the 1950s. The land where the playground stands today was once where dozens of child remains were unearthed. An autopsy of the bodies revealed signs of malnourishment and abuse, suggesting that the children were subjected to a prolonged period of cruelty before being murdered. To commemorate the death of their loved ones, the community donated funds to construct a playground at the same spot. That said, There have been no historical records to back this haunting claim. Visitors of the park have reported seeing orbs darting around and hearing sounds of child laughter in the empty playground. The swing set is also known to swing by itself in the middle of the night. The ghostly activities are said to be the most frequent between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. In spite of the haunting stories of dead children's playground, it continues to be a popular hangout for teenagers in the park. In 2007, as the number of available burial plots dwindled, the city of Huntsville attempted to remove sections of the city park as part of the Maple Hill Cemetery expansion project. However, residents of the community were only made known of the expansion plans when the playground equipments surrounding picnic tables were removed. The lack of communication and disregard of the community led to a public outcry, bringing the expansion to an abrupt end. As demanded by the community, new playground equipments were set up on the very same spot where the original playground was. However, local ghost investigators believe that it was a move to appease the child spirits that lingers here long after their tragic passing. The dead children's playground is located in Huntsville's Maple Hill Cemetery, Alabama. This urban legend is about how many children lost their lives in Huntsville during the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. Most of them were buried in Maple Hill, alongside a playground. As the legend states, the spirits of those children come out to play at night. The children are most active from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. The playground is surrounded by a group of trees, which can give off a shadowed, spooky appearance. There is a swing set and a regular-looking playground. Paranormal investigators have visited the dead children's playground and have reported strange events that have taken place in their time there, and have heard the laughter of children. Passers-by or people who have visited often report the same incidents, along with hearing children call out to them, hearing them play, swings moving on their own, orbs around the playground, or even spectral figures. Despite the fact that there is no official count of how many children died or were buried in Huntsville during the pandemic, the number could be into the hundreds. People are skeptical about whether or not the playground is haunted. No matter if you believe it or not, Dead Children's Playground is one of Alabama's creepiest urban legends. As the cemetery expanded, one night the playground equipment was taken off the property by the city. The community felt such an attachment to this area that they quickly demanded that it be declared a protected area. It was declared as such, and new playground equipment was installed immediately. This is where the story takes a turn. This field is directly to the right of the playground, and holds an extremely dark secret. Local legend has it that a serial child murder led a reign of terror in the town in the 40s. He would dump the bodies in this field. There are also multiple children buried close to the field at the edge of the cemetery across the road. Trails lead away from the field and into old mining shafts that the killer is said to have lived in. It's said that after dark the playground is teeming with paranormal activity. People have set up cameras and claim to have captured odds in still shots that are said to be proof that ghosts roam the property. For decades, locals have reported strange phenomenon happening after dark on the playground, such as the sounds of little children's feet running through the park, dust being kicked up as though kids are running, kids laughing, and swings going back and forth all by themselves when there is absolutely no wind pushing them. Even though the old equipment is gone, the children still seem to enjoy their playtime in the park. This picture seems to show a couple of the orbs people have claimed to see, and also a pair of different colored eyes in the corner. Most people will try to explain the colored lights as reflections of something. However, there is a 30-foot vertical cliff wall directly behind where the lights are seen. Some locals try to avoid the place at all costs. Many have had some scary experiences here, and will advise anyone they can to stay away. Other more adventurous people though are drawn to the mystery that surrounds what was supposed to be an area of peace and tranquility for children, but turned out to possibly be a grave site for many of them. Almost immediately after it was built, the locals began to hear sounds coming from the playground at night. They eventually became acquainted to ghostly visitors to the park from the hours of 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. So acquainted, they have nicknamed the park Dead Children's Playground, and in 2007, when expanding the cemetery, the city removed the park, causing an uproar from its citizens. The park was returned to its rightful place with new equipment, to the joy of many children, both alive and dead. Many report the sounds of children's voices giggling throughout the night, swings moving on their own with patches of dirt being kicked up as if someone had jumped off the swing. Pictures taken by its citizens and ghost hunters show orbs and mists around the height of children. Some even seem illuminated all around areas of the playground, specifically on the moving swings and going down the slides. Others have reported the sounds of mothers calling out to children and, eerily enough, standing above the park. Some have reported seeing the ghostly figure of a man staring down at the playground. Could this be the killer that once terrorized the town, watching his victims where he left them? Today the park is closed at night, but that hasn't stopped many from going and investigating themselves, hoping to experience a look at the other side. But how about you? Would you take a relaxing stroll